with drawing that object, and we'll draw it tomorrow, but on the black paper, which will be more of a challenge. So draw lightly. Okay, it should be kind of sketchy at first, and then as you feel more comfortable that your lines are accurate, that's when you can darken them. But it should be really light at first. That's probably the best tip I can give. It's okay to have extra lines and kind of search for that right answer until you get it. And the cup in the picture kind of has a ledge to it, and then it's skinnier at the bottom. Well, right now I'm just trying to define the outside of the object and not worrying about anything inside. Brad, are you working? I need you sketching that glass in front of you. Gabriel, I need you to sketch that jar. Who else is drawing the one in the picture? Okay, so kind of got the basic shape. The top will be an oval, and that oval will actually be matched down here, but you kind of can't see it, but you know it's there. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in, and it's also here. The same amount of curve to that elliptical oval shape will be in all 3 places. And also the water line. The glass I'm drawing has water here. Yours might not have any water in it to make it easier. So if you were to take this shape and move it down, they would match. They're kind of like parallel or copies of each other. However, you can just draw it as you see it. You can take a picture if that's easier. But yeah, you can just draw it as you see it. Okay, and again, drawing really lightly, really, really lightly. Alright, and now I'm going to define the shapes I see. Alright, and I'm looking at the one in the picture on the PowerPoint, and there's ice cubes in it, there's shadows in it. So I'm going to break those down into shapes. I'm not actually going to shade anything. I don't want you shading right now. I want you defining the shapes. Does that make sense? Defining the shapes, because that's where you'll start with. And believe it or not, this is going to help you when we come to start drawing faces by breaking it down not into a nose, but the shapes that make up your nose, the shapes that make up your mouth. Then it'll be more accurate that way. I know it might not feel like this is going to help you with a face, but it will. Okay, so I see a shadow down here. It kind of curves up and over. This is going to be a shadow. It's a little bit lighter through here. Especially if you fill your glass with water, you're going to see some weird shapes. And I see another one like that. And on the picture one, this is actually, instead of it being a dark line defining that edge, it's a light one. Ants? Ew. Do you see any food or anything left? Okay, well, I will submit that. Gross. And that's a shadow. And again, keep your pencil lines light. I see a bright highlight right there. A little highlight there. The challenging thing about glass is that it is see-through. So some of the things in the environment behind it you're going to see in a warped way. Draw them how you see them, not how you think they're supposed to be. Just because you know, oh, there's a person when I see through the glass. Draw it how the shapes are, not the idealized version of what they should look like, because it's going to be warped a little bit. So it looks kind of crazy, but that's all the different shapes I see down here. And there's also a shadow underneath it. I want to start drawing that. Again, I'm not actually shading anything. I'm just defining the shapes that I see. So a shadow has an outline. A highlight has an outline. And it's probably a drawing that only you'll really understand. Other people looking at it will be like, what is that? But you'll know, oh, that's the definition of a shadow shape. This is a highlighted shape. I'm noticing in the picture I'm drawing that the ice looks different below water than above. Above it looks kind of shiny, has really stark highlights, and then submerged in the water it looks kind of fogged. And it's important to do this step first where you're just defining the shapes, because if you didn't and you spent a lot of time and got your shading really precise and it looked really good, and then you had to move on to the next part, but all of a sudden you realized it was out of proportion, you don't want to undo all the beautiful shading you just did. And sometimes you can't undo it. So it's good to make sure your shapes are defined first, lightly drawn out. It's like a roadmap for what you're going to do next. Right. Yeah, Adam asked, so we just make the shapes and don't shade yet. Yes. Yes, that's all you're doing today. Just making the shapes. For a lunch thing. So I've got these 2 ice cubes floating in there. I've got it pretty well laid out there. I feel pretty good about that and being able to read it like a